This Roblox furry games fandom has gotten themselves into hot water with the latest accusations. Just a trigger warning before we start this video, there will be mentions of stereotypes against indigenous people. So if you do not feel comfortable with this topic, please click off the video. I won't be offended in any way or form if you do. I'd rather have everyone feel comfortable while watching this video. Moving forward, this game is known as Warrior Cats Ultimate Edition and has quite a strong fandom. It's based off the media Warrior Cats, which is what many of us grew up with, and is a roleplay game where many imaginate storylines to the game as they roleplay as big cats in the wild like lynx and much more. The game has recent controversy for an item accessory that is deemed as appropriating culture, and I'll explain why in this video. The controversy got so bad to the point where it got over 1k likes on Twitter, and the developers had to change the accessory entirely. There's also mentions of the staff in a document made up by a member of the WCUE indigenous community, who have teamed up to combat the blatant racism as they call it in the game. The member, whose name I will be blurring out for this video as they don't want them to get hate as many people unfortunately disagree, asked for people to boycott the furry game entirely, as well as many other members who have stopped playing due to these reasons. So, what's the accessory that caused this whole drama? And what's inside this expose document? My name's TanookiAlex, and this is our Roblox drama series. We get right into the Roblox news, drama, tips and tricks, and more. Let's get started. Yo, what's up, Squad, and welcome back to another video. Before we get started in this video, make sure to subscribe for Roblox drama, news, tips, and tricks, and more. Don't forget to turn the bell so you never miss out. These pronouns are they, them, so if you refer to this person who made this document in the comments, please be respectful of their pronouns. I'm also indigenous myself, so I have the rights to speak on this topic. You're probably wondering what this accessory is, right? So it's a feather. And you're probably wondering, how could this one feather accessory make so many people mad? Well, there's an entire document explaining why this feather is an example of appropriating culture. This person goes into detail in their document dedicated as to why this feather is a bad example of culture and why it's sacred in the culture. The feather has since been removed and replaced with leaf ears, which has many people satisfied with the new update. However, there are still many who disagree in the WCUE community. Let's get reading. So, to start off, I'd like to begin with the subject of the feather and the importance it has to indigenous people, the author says. The website Native Hope has that it describes the feather's usage in Native American culture as a powerful symbol that signifies honor and connection between the owner, the creator, and the bird from which the feather came. It symbolizes trust, honor, strength, wisdom, power, and freedom. It is an object that is deeply revered and a sign of high honor. So, feathers are incredibly sacred to indigenous cultures. They are honored to receive and treasured greatly. They aren't small, insignificant parts of our culture. With that in mind, let's move to an issue that is a lot of prevalent in our character designs, part of the Warrior Cats fandom. To this day, cultural appropriation. If you do not know what cultural appropriation is, here's a definition of it from the dictionary. An acknowledged or inappropriate adoption of the custom, practices, idea, etc. of one people or society by members of another and typically more dominant people of society. Now, why would it be harmful? I'm sure someone would ask. They're just appreciating / someone else's culture. The artist asked to let them explain why. But it's just a feather. Indigenous people don't have total control over feathers, and the artist says we don't. However, the way the artists tend to use the feathers in their design is very reminiscent of the stereotypical characters of indigenous people. We don't necessarily mind you adding a feather for some reason to your design, but placing it in your character's hair or behind the ear in a way that is similar to these old caricatures is a no-go. Placing a feather in behind your character's tail, giving them feather earrings, etc., go for it. Beside the ear, don't. But why so much fuss over a drawing? Because these staring stereotypes is what contributed to the disruption of people and destruction of the ways of indigenous people. They were used to belittle and mock our culture, and make us seem like a funny skit in the Sunday funnies of a newspaper. Then, when indigenous people began to become more and more oppressed and lose their right to stand up for themselves, suddenly, it became trendy to have an indigenous aesthetic, which is why things like headdresses, dream catchers, and more sacred objects and practices in our culture got snatched up by white people, the author says. These characters aren't just drawings. They're very much played a destruction in Canadian and American Native culture. By using these stereotypes of headdresses or feathers behind the ear, you are contributing to the process of colonization, whether your intentions are pure or not. Next, this person gives solutions as to things that the game can use without the feather. If I'm not allowed to put feathers behind the ear, what should I do? There are so many options. If you're a warrior cat artist, move the feather to the chest fur or the tail. Use a flower or leaves or moss instead of the feather. Just don't contribute to a stereotype that serves to remind indigenous people how so much of their culture was turned into a commercial gimmick or an aesthetic for white people. And the artist ends off the document by thanking us for their time. A lot of indigenous people disagree with the document, while many agree with the document. As such, this document blew up on Twitter and had many in flames, even boycotting the developers who they themselves are not indigenous and therefore would have no real say on the topic because they themselves aren't really fully aware of the culture. However, a good thing is that the developers took immediate action and took the feathers down as mentioned previously. However, some, not all, banned the member for causing drama of the staff, which is addressed in the second document. Please do not harass the moderators, this is not all of them. The document contains evidence of staff dismissing this issue, which made many people boycott the game again. The developers came out with a statement saying that they are fully committed to inclusiveness. Here's what it says. We are aware of recent repents with certain individual exchanges with people on the WCUE Discord team, some of which has been discussed on our platform. We take repents of this nature very seriously and are deeming it as a priority, with an update to be provided on this platform prior to 5 p.m. PST, Friday, June 18th. We wish to take this time to contain a complete understanding of the appropriation and to determine appropriate actions before commencing further. We are firmly inclusiveness and believe that all members of the WCUE Warriors community should be respected. So as they investigate, the community is still not at ease. In short, a feather accessory was deemed of cultural appropriation that gained thousands of likes on Twitter and YouTube, causing them to remove it and replace it with leaves. However, some of the staff, brushed it off and made not nice remarks towards the staff member and other topics, causing a lot of people to be upset at the WCUE team. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you are one of these people. Love to know your thoughts. And I'll see you in the next video.